They present the popular radio program, Political Platform, on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Political Platform on Ray Power FM. My name is Amechi Anakweze. A beautiful Wednesday morning, a day after the National Assembly resumed after its annual recess, staying to indeed, of course, observe the normal tradition. But it came back to face a catalog of problems, the challenges facing the country, and of course, what we learned yesterday, fears that Nigeria may go back quickly to recession because of the non-implementation of the budget. The senators claim that only 10% has been so far implemented, and I've asked the two key ministers handling the budget, Kemi Adoshu and Udo Udoma, Minister of Finance and Budget and National Planning, to appear before it to, of course, update it on these efforts. 10% with less than 3 months to go to the end of the year. Is the figure higher? Would the ministers give us another figure? But of course, just a few days ago, we were told that about 336 billion was released as first quarter capital component of the budget. So first quarter, you also think of when the budget was actually indeed passed. Of course, the Senate resolved to send its leaders to meet with the president over the situation in the southeast bordering on IPOB. Dino Mela evaded service by INEC officials yesterday, who went there with a bag full of documents, of course, telling him that they are ready to continue work on his recall process. We have this and more for you. The house is full here. Adebayo Abodurin is with me in the studio this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Amishi. I think there's cheerful news from the National Assembly yesterday. At least some of the issues, problem plaguing the country are being addressed. They are now very convincing us that they seem to have accepted the necessity for devolution of power, and both chambers gave indication to that effect
that they may revisit
the issue. But there is a worrisome statement from the House of Representatives on the issue of non-governmental organizations. The Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, was emphatic yesterday that there is no going back on the issue of the bill to regulate non-governmental organizations.
No going back on the processes leading to his
yes, but he raised one critical issue, which I think he need to inform Nigerians. He said there are prospects of NGOs being used to undermine national security. I think the citizens must not be kept in darkness over this. If they have facts that point to that, I think they should make them available. And yesterday too, the war of words, the verbal war between Professor Isesage, the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Anti-Corruption, and the ruling APC seem not to have, it seems to be raging. Yesterday, Isesage replied to the statement, said that it was a prominent rogue elephant. He described the national chairman of APC as a come and shop politician. And I think for me, my take from all this verbal war is that I hope it will not distract, be a source of distraction in stopping the war against corruption. Because verbal war, yes, welcome, we're in a political era, but when leaders of the ruling party who promised Nigerians are going to wage war against corruption, and someone who has been invited to assist in facilitating that now are fighting each other openly. I think it is dirty.
Uju, of course, Uju is with us also. The House resumed. The Speaker, of course, Adebayo Abodurin has said some of the extract from his speech yesterday, but they also said they would likely revisit the devolution of power. We were insisting that any restructuring of Nigeria must be done by the National Assembly in partnership with the
people, and the House promptly set up a 6-man committee to set up a committee to liaise with representatives of the 6 zones of the country. So they set to work immediately. And apart from that, there were other issues, agriculture, so a whole sort of a lot of things that they actually want to delve into. And it's heartwarming considering the criticism that has trailed their long vacation in the light of all the challenges, that were on ground. And now that they have hit the ground running, if I may quote the speaker yesterday, said there's the need to hit the ground running, and I think they have done that. But even at that, they really have to make haste. And then coming to what Adebayo Bodunri said, it's really a bit of a surprise to people like us who have followed the political moves, the political leanings of the two men in question, Professor Ishesage and former leadership former governor of Edo State, the leadership of the APC. And then you begin to wonder, these were men who were in the same camp. They actually were in the trenches during the June 12th struggle. They belonged to the same camp. They had seemingly, similar ideologies. And then right now things have taken a different turn. For Professor Ishesage to call an Oyegu a come-chop politician, somehow it doesn't quite fit, because this is a man who's been a governor, and during the Nadeko days, he stood out. He has the integrity. Agreed, yes, he's not been the best administrator where the party is concerned, but I don't think that he can descend that low.
It was the late Bola Ige that first used that clause. He said, some politicians are come and chop, and some others are come and work. Making reference to the cabinet put together then by President Obasanjo between 1999 and 2003. He said some were invited to just come and enjoy the perks of office, while some for what they are bringing in. That's exactly what he says.
It was actually an altercation between Bola Ige and his former deputy when he was governor of Oyo State, the late Afolabi, who was then Minister of Interior.
Internal
Affairs then, now Interior.
Okay, Mustafa Mohammed completes our number.
Thank you. Yesterday, a magistrate court in Maiduguri sent 12 IDP members, including leaders of the Burma Development Initiative, to be remanded in prison for protesting on Sunday that they are tired of living in the IDP. They want to go back home. We don't have much to comment on that since it's before a court of law. But shockingly, the media in that part of the country went to sleep. It's a question of right. People have right to demonstrate. The police stopped their demonstration on Sunday, then moved around to pick their leaders, locked them up for 2 days, and they arraigned them in court. It's such a sad story.
Well, we hope that when their bail application is entertained, it will be treated on its own merit. The IDP said they are ready to trek home if the government is not willing to provide the logistics, that they are simply tired of staying in internally displaced persons camps. Of course, you can realize there is the conditions that exist in those camps that appear to be forcing them to even take big risk in looking for an alternative means of sustaining their lives.
Isn't that sad when you look at other countries where there have been emergencies? You see the way the people are treated. At least it's bad enough having to live outside the comfort of your own home, and then not even getting the basic necessities of life is dehumanizing.
Okay, let's fill your purse. Let's get your own side of the story as we share some of the bills we picked from our email platform, the ones you sent to us.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Yesterday on this program, we told you about, of course, the process of procuring a national driver's license. The commercial of the Federal Road Safety Commission, Boboyo Oyeyemi, was around, and one issue that came up was the delay in issuance of driver's license. Sometimes months after the expiry of the temporary driver license that you're issued with, before you can get the permanent driver's license. And we raised the issue of one of our colleagues in the studio, Elams, whose temporary license expired in July. And we can tell you that indeed he has been issued with his permanent driver's license. We promised you yesterday that there are some phone numbers you can call to indeed ascertain the status of your own driver's license that is being processed by the authorities. And the numbers are here with us now. You can call any of these two numbers, so get your pen and indeed your phones ready to take the number. I'll take them slowly. 081 5065 4567 0858 29 8826. Let me take them again. The first number 081 5065 4567. Then the second number 080 582 98826. Let's fill your pulse now as we share your mails.
Hello and welcome to the mail segment. I am Usaitin Yari.
And I am Etenikan Okepo. You're welcome.
Ajibade Aziz in Wuse, Abuja says, it is very sad to hear that Senator Dino Melaye is running away from being served the recall notice by INEC. It is very clear now that Dino is not sure of himself and guilty of all the allegations against him. He should leave honorably if he does not want to be pushed out. God bless Nigeria.
And Nosike Odiaka in Obanikoro in Lagos State writes on Nigeria's democracy. He says it is exciting listening to various mails sent to the platform and the diversity of thoughts and opinions therein. The privilege of freedom of expression, as it were, remains one of the beauties of democracy. To some, however, any analysis by the crew members which does not go their way is wrong and partisan. To others, whatever the government the support does is always right. They go to such great lengths to rationalize and justify those actions. For instance, those supporting this government do not see anything wrong in the lopsided appointments by the president, nor the incessant killings and destructions by headsmen. They see nothing wrong with the one-sided war against corruption, where only the perceived as opponents are being hunted, nor yet anything wrong in the president's failure to fulfill his various electoral promises. To them, the economy is bad either because the previous government didn't do enough or because of global recession. But the question now is, how do we harmonize these divergent views and thoughts in restructuring our country, where every citizen can have the right to a good and respectable life? Now is the time to brainstorm for the good of all. God bless Nigeria.
Harry Okadigwe in Enugu State shares his thoughts on the restructuring conversation. He says, Nigeria would have fared better as United States of Nigeria instead of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where semi-autonomous states grouped into 6 regions surround Abuja, where the states and regions control their resources and pay tax to the center. In this setup, the states will be directly responsible for development, infrastructure, and the citizens' welfare, while the center is responsible for law, national policies, defense, international diplomacy, and foreign policy. This setup will do away with federal character and imbibe fair play, logic, and common sense. This way, Nigeria will achieve greatness. Lastly, despite the flawed and loophole-riddled 1999 constitution, we don't need to revert to the 1963 to fix Nigeria, as you can't read a JS3 textbook for an SS3 exam. We should rather develop a people's constitution which is foolproof and reflects Nigeria's bright future. That's it on the mail segment today. Keep sending your thoughts, opinions, and suggestions to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Bust it!
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's Political Platform, and the issue of restructuring is resonating across the country. At the National Assembly, it was a very big issue. Both chambers recognizing that there's a need for Nigeria to do something about his constitution. But of course, just like we told you earlier, the speaker saying indeed any effort to restructure must be done based on the laws of the country, and that must involve the National Assembly as the people that will have the last say in the process. And one man who has been calling for restructuring in Nigeria is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Some time ago on this program, we told you of his views on restructuring. He restated them over last weekend at a ceremony in Abuja, where he made reference to the fact that some Nigerians, especially in the north, who are against restructuring may actually be doing so on based on the fact that they are quite lazy. And of course, we raised that issue, and this morning we are giving an opportunity for his spokesperson, Paul Ibe. Paul Ibe is the head of the media team of Atiku Abubakar, to of course give us his perspectives on Nigeria's restructuring. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So many Nigerians believe that the former vice president started singing the song of restructuring when he knew that he would be going for the presidency in 2019. That it's just a gimmick to hoodwink southern Nigerian politicians who have been canvassing for restructuring to get their support ahead of that election. How true is that?
That is not true. And we all have aspirations as human beings, as individuals, as organizations, as groups, as families. When I was a journalist, I wanted to be when I was a journalist, I aspired to be an editor, and eventually became one. So there is nothing wrong individuals having ambition, but those ambitions must be made of external stuff. Those ambitions must promote common good. Now, back to the question that of His Excellency Atiku Abubakar started speaking to the issue of restructuring or reconfiguration or rejigging of our political structure long before 2015 or today. So it is not true, and it's because of political expediency. But he's speaking to the issue because he's a patriot who believes that Nigeria can achieve a whole lot if we remove the obstacles, the challenges in our path to nationhood and development.
So some Nigerians, such as Junaid Mohammed, had alleged that Atiku is insulting some other northern Nigerian politicians. The reference he made in the last weekend's conference, where he said those against restructuring are lazy, does it mean that he's standing alone in that regard as to how to make Nigeria work, talking about positions taken by those in northern Nigeria?
No, of course he's not standing alone. Initially, it looked like John the Baptist in the wilderness. It's always like that. People are always averse to change, but gradually, the advocacy of rejigging, of Nigeria is taking. It's taking a new dimension. People are coming on board, and prominent Nigerians, including prominent Northerners, are signing up. Only yesterday, some states in the Northeast, said they were in support of restructuring. So it's not standing alone, and not everybody will come on board at the same time. Some may be slow in coming, some may be quick in coming. But the objective is to be able to start this, debate. He has achieved that objective. We're talking about it. And then from our families, from our kitchens, from our dining tables to the streets, the whole, the objective is to begin to aggregate the opinions on both sides of the debate, and then bring everybody to the dialogue table, so that we can, work out, an arrangement that will best serve us. Okay.
Yeah, Paul, what I'm asking is that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is a prominent figure in the ruling party, APC. He started talking about restructuring before even APC now came into it. Now that APC has started consultation with members across the country on this issue and also raised a panel, is what seemed like a solo project will it now dovetail into what the APC is doing?
Well, make no mistake about it. Atiku Abubakar is not speaking to the issue of restructuring. You know, the APC, as a political party, promised Nigerians that restructuring is well there. It's well stated there in the manifesto. And as a member of the party, what he's saying is that the party needs to deliver on the commitment that it has made, to the voters. That's what he's saying. And if the party has woken up to the reality that Nigeria as it is presently is not working for everybody. I mean, salaries, so many states have not paid salaries. The infrastructure is in a state of decay. And if they have realized that and they have come on board, and what they are simply doing is that they are validating, what Atiku Abubakar, has been saying for long. And we will join hands, with them.
You mentioned bad roads and lack of payment of salaries. Atiku Abubakar was there for 8 years as the vice president of this country, and a lot of Nigerians are of the opinion that he was part of the elite that brought Nigeria to its present situation. How are you going to react to that?
Well, you and I know, and we forget history sooner, and I'm not surprised because this is a country where history is no longer taught as a subject, and so people don't have a sense of what history is. But the history of 1999 to 2007 is very clear. There were reforms that were undertaken in that administration. Atiku was part of it. Those are reforms. And what we are asking for now, is to rejig what we have. It's not working. It's not working for all. North, south, east, west. It's not saying that. It's not working. And everybody has come to acknowledge that. The APC has acknowledged that. The PDP has acknowledged that. Governors have acknowledged that. Political leaders, people of faith, traditional rulers have acknowledged that what we have presently is not working for us. So it's not about the time, when he was an administrator. And don't forget that he was a vice president in administration. And to my knowledge, there is nothing like an executive vice president.
Now, lastly, though, if we don't have any other question, the mere fact that when Atiku Abubakar came up with calls for restructuring, he appeared to be the only voice in northern Nigeria. Does it mean that he did not consult fellow politicians and did not try to sell that idea to them before going public with it?
Well, it takes courage. It takes courage for people to speak to what is ostensibly not popular per time. It takes courage. And Atiku Abubakar has been known to, be a promoter of democracy. He has more than every other person in recent times. Atiku had been in the vanguard for the promotion or the detriment of democracy for the military rule.
That's the opinion. So many others will disagree with you, but continue.
Well, it's a matter of the history is there, and as to what his contributions, are. So it was out of courage and out of conviction. Some may be convinced, but they are not courageous enough to speak to it. So we have to understand the man that we're talking about. He's not shy, to voice an opinion, especially one that will promote the well-being of Nigeria. He's a Nigerian. He lives in Nigeria. He cares about Nigeria. And, he knows about the possibilities that exist, by rejigging our country to ensure that the latent, energies that, that lie in this country.
Okay. We must say thank you. We must say thank you to you, Paul Ibe, for giving us your time, for, of course, sharing the thoughts of Atiku Abubakar on a political platform. Paul Ibe is head of Atiku Abubakar media team.
Amechi, some people will still say, he realized it just towards 2019 because it's so difficult, to convince people that he's not doing it because of his political aspiration. And then again, why he was vice president, even if he was not an executive vice president and he didn't have much say, but I know that was one administration that gave the vice president of the country much visibility because he was actually a leader in so many enterprises that the country was involved in at that time. So why didn't he even at least voice it at that point in time?
Then it goes to also tell you that he's talking alone does not mean that others are not doing it. We lately discovered that Dr. Usman Bugaji and so many others are been carrying out wider consultations. As at now, they just came out with a position paper which they intend to declare publicly next month about a position of restructuring what the other side of the Niger feels it should be. Different folks have different meaning for what the kind of restructured Nigeria should be, and I think all these things are welcome.
Well, I think the greatest development over this issue of restructuring is that it now appears almost everybody is keen to it. What one will wish is that at the end of it all, through consensus and compromise, we will reach vital decisions that will galvanize Nigeria to greatness.
I like the two words you use, the consensus and compromise. And we need statement to drive this. The last attempt to amend the constitution in the National Assembly, talking about devolution of powers, and the voting pattern tells you that they acted more like politicians, and some of them may have realized their mistakes now. And if we are going to do anything moving ahead, we must adopt the spirit of statesmanship. Of course, it was a cat and mouse game between Senator Dino Melaye and officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission yesterday at the Senate. They waited in vain to serve him the papers, the processes leading to his recall, and he successfully evaded them. You remember at the plenary, the chambers of the Senate, and refused to go to his office, and immediately the plenary ended. He dashed to his car waiting. The driver was already waiting, and the engine was
Amechi, I would disagree a bit with you. I do not think he dashed, because he was actually greeting people, waving at people,
as usual.
And then the bailiff was running after him. And then when he was taking pictures with people, the bailiff was standing there watching him take pictures before he entered his car. So
the bailiff wasn't proactive.
Exactly. I think that while he was taking those pictures, the bailiff could have handed the letter to him. And if you talk about cars standing by, that's the usual practice.
They can go to court and ask for substituted service. It's very easy.
Of course,
when you have that from a court, you can even publish it in the newspaper pages. There's nothing to it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being part of today's edition of Political Platform. Keep a day with us tomorrow. That will be on Thursday. My name is Amechi, and on behalf of the crew, have a wonderful time.
Bust it.